Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into something deeply personal, but honestly, it's something universally experienced by pretty much all of us. We're diving deep into the gratitude blueprint to uncover exactly how you can actively rewrite your inner narrative. And we're going to treat this not just as a standard lesson, but as a motivational story. A story where you actually get to be the author of your own life. So, let's start with an emotional struggle that I know we're all a little too familiar with.
Have you ever found yourself at the very end of a long, exhausting day, just endlessly scrolling through someone else's carefully edited highlight reel online and quietly asked yourself this exact painful question? What am I doing wrong? You know the feeling, right? You see the absolutely perfect vacations, the incredible career milestones, the flawless smiles, and this heavy, sinking feeling just sort of settles in your chest. You wonder why your life doesn't look like that. And before you know it, you start to internalize it.
Look, before we go any further into the nuts and bolts of why this happens, take a slow, deep breath. You really aren't alone in this. Literally millions of people wake up and go to sleep feeling this exact same sense of failure and anxiety every single day, just because this highlight reel culture is so incredibly pervasive. Now, as a quick aside, I do want to mention that this explainer is strictly for educational and motivational purposes. It's definitely not a substitute for professional mental health support, so if you're feeling totally overwhelmed, please do seek out a pro. But for our journey today, the single most important thing to recognize right off the bat is that this feeling of inadequacy, it isn't a character flaw. It's just a byproduct of the modern world we live in.
Okay, let's move right into Section 1, the comparison trap, and how scrolling actively shapes our self-worth. The honest truth is, your brain was literally never designed to process this much social information, let alone compare itself with thousands of people on a daily basis. I mean, for thousands of years, humans only ever compared themselves to the handful of folks in their immediate village. Now, you're comparing your messy, behind-the-scenes reality to the heavily curated greatest hits of the entire globe. Social media makes this comparison effortless. But the real danger is this silent, toxic belief that success is somehow a zero-sum game. When you see someone else winning, a subtle little lie whispers that you are somehow losing. But listen to me. Someone else's victory takes absolutely nothing away from your inherent worth. A super practical suggestion here: start ruthlessly curating your digital environment. If a specific account constantly makes you feel like you're falling behind, give yourself full permission to just unfollow them. Protect your mental space.
Because if you don't, it creates this massive, slippery slope. What starts as a simple, passive scroll triggers a comparison that convinces your brain you're falling behind. You do that every day and suddenly it becomes a habit. And left unchecked, that habit absolutely solidifies into your identity. You completely stop thinking, oh, I'm just having a bad day, and you start believing, I am a failure. It's a really dangerous downward spiral where your own inner narrative is slowly being hijacked by algorithms and edited photos.
Which brings us to Section 2, the science of change, and why your future is not your past. So if you're sitting there right now feeling hopelessly stuck in that identity of failure, I have some genuinely amazing, scientifically backed news for you. You are not permanently stuck. Psychologists call this neuroplasticity, and it is the ultimate beacon of hope in our story today. It basically means your identity isn't fixed in stone. It's honestly a lot more like clay. Your brain literally changes throughout your entire life based on what you feed it. Think of your thoughts like water carving a path through a canyon. The more you think certain thoughts like, I'm not doing enough, the deeper and stronger those mental pathways become, because the water naturally just wants to flow there. But because of neuroplasticity, you have the actual power to redirect the river. The absolutely crucial point here is that while old thoughts create old pathways, new thoughts actively create new pathways. This proves once and for all that your future does not have to look like your past. If you change the input, you literally change the physical structure of your brain over time. Want a practical way to start doing this right now? Whenever you catch yourself spiraling into that familiar self-doubt, literally say the word stop out loud. Yeah, out loud. It acts as a sudden mental circuit breaker, pausing that old pathway so you can consciously choose to walk down a totally new one. Let's look at exactly how to do that in Section 3, practicing daily gratitude and interrupting the negative loop.
So we know we need to build new pathways, right? But how exactly do we do that? What's the actual practical tool here? Well, the answer is incredibly simple, though I'll admit it's not always easy. It's gratitude. But hold on, gratitude isn't about toxic positivity. We're not talking about ignoring your pain or pretending your life is some perfect fairy tale. Rather, it's about training your attention. It's shifting from asking, why is my life so bad, to asking, what is still good in my life today?
This one specific mental shift is proven to reduce stress and help you finally notice all those positive experiences that your brain, which has been totally obsessed with comparison, has just completely overlooked. You are giving your brain a brand new set of instructions.
When you ask what is still good, you might focus on the absolute vital things: your health, your family, or honestly, simply the fact that waking up today means you have another chance to start over. It's crazy how easy it is to overlook these things when we're rushing around. So I highly suggest this simple practice. Keep a physical notepad right by your bed. Before you ever look at a glowing screen in the morning, write down just one small thing from these categories that you're genuinely thankful for. In the journey of healing and rewriting your story, I promise you, these small, quiet moments truly matter. They are literally the bricks you're using to build those new mental pathways.
Moving right along to Section 4, Designing Your Future Self, Purpose over Fear.
Gratitude is amazing because it anchors you in the present. But to truly move forward, we have to replace our obsession with present problems by intentionally creating a meaningful future. We need a destination, right? Look, the human brain is a survival machine. Without a clear vision, it's naturally going to scan the horizon for threats and anxieties. But with purpose, the brain searches for opportunities. When you equip yourself with a crystal clear vision, your brain stops fixating on all the obstacles in your way and suddenly starts seeing them as stepping stones. You're basically giving your neuroplasticity a roadmap.
So as we bring all these pieces together to really help you take back your power, we have to lay down the rules of engagement for this new narrative of yours. First, you cannot change yesterday, so you've got to stop spending your precious mental energy living there. Second, you cannot control everyone around you, so go ahead and release the heavy burden of their opinions. But third, and most importantly, you absolutely can control the meaning you give today's experiences. It is totally essential to accept what is completely out of your hands, while fiercely and unapologetically protecting what is within your control. That, my friends, is where your true power lies.
Because sometimes the obstacle isn't the situation itself, it's the story you've been telling yourself about the situation. Real healing doesn't just happen overnight like magic. It happens one single choice at a time. It happens when you look a challenge dead in the eye and choose to tell a story of resilience rather than a story of defeat. Choosing to rewrite the story you tell yourself isn't just some nice, feel-good idea. It is the fundamental, absolute first step to genuinely changing the entire trajectory of your life.
So I want to leave you with one final, provocative thought to really chew on today. Who do you want to become 1 year from today? Seriously, what kind of person actually deserves that beautiful, purposeful future you're building? Don't just gloss over this question. Take a moment today to really, truly define that person. And once you do, empower yourself to become that person, one tiny, grateful, intentional decision at a time. The pen is entirely in your hand. What's your next chapter going to say?